When the white smoke billowed from the chimney atop the Sistine Chapel, a hush fell over the crowd gathered in St. Peter's Square. The world held its breath, waiting for the announcement that would mark a historic moment in the Catholic Church. After weeks of speculation, a new pope was about to be revealed. From the balcony, a figure emerged, bathed in the golden light of the Roman afternoon. It was Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle of the Philippines, now His Holiness Pope Tagle. The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, marking the ascension of the first pope from Asia. This was a truly historic moment for the Catholic Church, one that many had hoped for but never expected to see. As the crowd celebrated, Pope Tagle stood before them, taking in the significance of the moment. A son of Asia, he now carried the weight of the papacy, a role that had been held by men from Europe and South America for centuries. Yet, despite the enormity of the occasion, Pope Tagle's demeanor was calm and humble. He smiled warmly at the sea of faces before him, raising his hand in a gesture of peace. His first words, spoken in Italian, echoed across St. Peter's Square. "Peace be with you," he began. His voice, full of compassion and humility, resonated with those who were listening. It was a message that would set the tone for his papacy, a call for unity, compassion, and love. Pope Tagle's message wasn't just for the faithful Catholics who had gathered in the square, but for the entire world. "We are called to be instruments of God's love in the world," he continued. "We are called to build bridges of understanding, not walls of division." These words, simple yet powerful, struck a chord with listeners everywhere. In a world torn apart by conflict and division, Pope Tagle's message of unity and peace was both a reminder and a call to action. As Pope Tagle spoke, the world watched closely, and people everywhere began to take notice. Across the globe, millions tuned in to hear the first words of their new pope. In the Philippines, church bells rang out in celebration. People danced in the streets, overwhelmed with joy and pride. For the Philippines, a predominantly Catholic nation, this moment was not just historic, but deeply personal. The news was more than just the appointment of a new pope. It was the recognition of the Philippine Church on the global stage. The reactions to Pope Tagle's words were immediate and overwhelming. Social media platforms erupted with messages of support and congratulations. Hashtags like Pope Tagle and Build Bridges Not Walls began trending worldwide, reflecting the powerful impact of his message. World leaders, both religious and secular, expressed their admiration and hopes for Pope Tagle's papacy. The Archbishop of Canterbury praised him as a man of deep faith, while the Dalai Lama expressed his hope for a world where people could live together in peace and harmony. Pope Tagle's first address resonated deeply with many, not only because of his message, but also because of the way he delivered it. His speech was filled with warmth, humility, and optimism. It was a message of hope, unity, and peace in a world that desperately needed all three. His call for peace went beyond the mere absence of conflict. It was a peace rooted in justice, a peace that addressed the root causes of poverty, inequality, and violence. This was a message Pope Tagle had been preaching for years in the Philippines, where he had long been an advocate for the poor and marginalized. His emphasis on justice and inclusion was not new to those who had followed his ministry in Asia. He had always been a champion for those who had been left behind by society, whether it was the poor, the oppressed, or the voiceless. His papacy promised to continue that work, and his first words were a powerful indication of what was to come. The message of unity in Pope Tagle's address was also striking. For him, unity didn't mean uniformity. He didn't call for everyone to be the same, but for people to come together despite their differences. He spoke of dialogue and understanding between people of different cultures, religions, and backgrounds. This was a message that was particularly timely, as the world was becoming increasingly polarized, both politically and culturally. Pope Tagle's message seemed to speak directly to the issues of the 21st century, where divisions seemed to grow wider each day. In this way, Pope Tagle's first address could be seen as a call to overcome the barriers that often separate us from one another. Whether those barriers were based on nationality, religion, or identity, Pope Tagle encouraged the world to build bridges of understanding, to create connections between people instead of erecting walls of separation. This was a message that not only resonated with the Catholic community, but also with people from all walks of life. As the world reflected on Pope Tagle's words, there was a sense of optimism and hope that Fili,